Oh, God, that's going to leave a mark.
Welcome back to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we're watching Tommy Boy from 1993? 5. That's it.
Starring Chris Farley and David Spade. This is a movie I've seen so many times in my life and was recently flabbergasted by the sheer fact that you told me you've never seen this before. So, Chris, what the hell did you think of Tommy Boy?
I thought it was pretty good. It kind of wasn't what I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest.
What'd you think it was going to be?
Well, I don't know. I thought, like, it was a Chris Farley movie. It started off, like, in college, and I thought, like, okay, like, I guess this character is just going to be, like, a complete, like, idiot and kind of like a jerk, but that character actually wasn't like that, so it sort of was kind of like a different movie than I thought. It sort of reminded me a little bit of, like, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles a little bit, just because of like all the traveling and them being in like a hotel and stuff together a lot.
Yeah, there's the middle hour of that movie is a road movie, basically.
Yeah, but overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, this is a movie I generally really like. Out of the, admittedly not too many, he's only starred in 4 movies, but this is honestly, in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion, Chris Farley's best movie.
Man, yeah, Chris Farley, master of physical comedy, like,
oh yeah,
just to like jump around, but that scene in like the airplane bathroom that like he somehow just completely destroys it, just trying to put on his pants, it's just like it just makes it look so effortless. Like, it's just like how does he get into these situations? But yeah, I think this is like the youngest I've ever seen David Spade in something. Like, I don't know if this was like David Spade's like first movie or what, but I was like, wow, he is like really young in this movie.
I can't say if it was his first movie, but I'm sure it was one of his first at the very least.
Yeah.
This was back when they were both on Saturday Night Live.
Okay. I probably never watched any of that when that was like airing, so.
We were kind of young when that version of SNL, but I've seen reruns and stuff. I actually still have somewhere the Chris Farley SNL compilation DVD.
I mean, I've seen the one with Chris Farley. I don't know if it's like the most famous one, but the, like, you'll be living like on the side of the river.
Down by the river!
Yeah.
You're gonna be doing a lot of doobie rolling when you're living in a van down by the river! Oh yeah, that's like one of his most famous
He just
things.
like destroys the coffee table and all that stuff.
Oh
like,
yeah.
The guy was great. But yeah, it was interesting. Like, David Spade is kind of like the straight man in this movie.
This is very much a buddy comedy, very much in the vein of like the old Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy things, especially because you got skinny guy, fat guy.
Oh yeah. And they definitely do make a lot of fat jokes.
That guy in a little coat.
Take it off, dickhead. I'm serious.
Richard, what's happening?
Yeah, you know, one thing about the movie that I thought was like a little weird was the beginning of the movie shows them as like children, but then you just see them as adults like the whole time, and it never really goes back to that. So it's kind of like, what? Why did it show them as children? Just to kind of establish like they've just like lived in this town together forever and they have this like history. But
I think, yeah, I guess.
Like, yeah, it's just kind of like brief, and you know, you do get more of it in the movie, like, as like the movie plays out, but it's not even like a real, like, I don't know, like, you bullied me as a kid or anything. It was just like more of like, you know, your dad was such a great guy and like you didn't even appreciate him and stuff like that. But I don't know how to go about talking about this movie because it's really good.
It's Tommy Boy. It's the story of Tom Callahan Jr., also sometimes referred to as Tommy Boy or just Tommy.
Yeah.
He is the son of a fairly successful business owner, Tom Callahan Sr.
Yeah, it's like auto parts. And
it's a multi-generationally owned company. It's been around for a long time, but after the sudden and tragic passing of Big Tom Callahan, the company is now in danger because it all rested on him, because he was the man that all the other businesses and the bank, they trusted him, they believed in him. They don't believe in Tommy Boy because he took 7 years to graduate college.
Yeah.
And he just barely did it because he had a D+ on a history test, which honestly, even the question was wrong.
Yeah. Said like Herbie Hancock or whatever.
Well, he answered that wrong, but even the question is wrong because it's asking about who framed the Constitution, and the answer was like John Hancock, but no, that's Declaration of Independence.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even catch that.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
Why?
Funny, the whole thing with like, you know, Tommy Boy, and he comes home and his father's getting married to this like super hot lady, and then like he meets the lady's son, who is kind of like immediately like, what's up with this guy? He's
a dick.
Yeah. He says like, is there anything more dangerous we can do? And like Tommy's like, yeah, sure. And then they go cow tipping.
Cow tipping, oh my god.
Yeah. Which is like as bad as, that's like stupid, but not as dumb as, do you remember that one thing people were like talking about, like sporking?
What?
You don't remember that? Okay, back in high school, which proves what a hick town our town is sometimes, people would do this thing called sporking, where they would pick a random like person's house and put as many sporks in their front lawn as possible.
I don't recall anyone ever doing this or talking about this ever.
Well, I probably hung out with way more trailer trash kids than you did.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
Why?
I think I think it was just that weird wrong side of town that you lived on.
Yeah. Really? You never heard of it?
No!
Wow.
I hear spork, I just think of a spork.
No, kids used to get like a bunch of sporks and then like put them in like people's front lawns.
You sure this just wasn't your neighborhood kind of thing?
No, because it came from which is even more of a hick town than where we live.
I'm gonna bleep that. No, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I don't know what to tell you, man.
God, you're sick.
Well, anyway, cow tipping. That's something in this movie. But it is kind of funny because, like, Tommy's kind of like a pretty genuine guy, kind of fun and happy-go-lucky.
They do establish even in the kids sequence, that he's generally well-liked by those around him, because when he's chasing the bus, the other kids are like, come on, Tommy! And when he goes back to the factory, everyone there is waving, saying hi to him. He knows all their names. Like, he's very much a man of the people.
Definitely. It's like the only person that doesn't really like him is like Richard, who's like the David Spade character, but even he's not like completely a dick to him. I mean, he kind of is at the beginning of the movie.
Now I know you'd love to just sit there and keep being not slim, but we gotta work a little today, okay?
The movie is also partially them becoming friends.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, like, to go about talking about some of the gags, or
what about the deer?
The deer just like escalated with like,
because first they kill the deer, at least they think they do,
then it's alive and it just completely demolishes the car. I don't even understand why they took the deer with them. They're both like heartbroken when it happens, though. They're like crying. It's just like, wow, they're really good people. Like, to be this upset about hitting a deer. But yeah, and the one meeting where he's talking about like the brake pads, and then just lights the like vintage toy car on fire. It's like, why would you think that was a good idea?
Oh yeah, that stuff's all great. One of my personal favorite little moments is when they're fighting over the radio. They're putting on different songs, and then they get to that one slow song, and they're like, "It's fine. It's fine. If it's okay with you, it's okay with me. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever." And then it just cuts to them both singing.
Don't you remember you told me you love me, baby? You know what's funny? Harold and Kumar literally like kind of, I guess, just like homage that same joke.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember Harold and Kumar that well.
Yeah, I don't remember the song, but it's like some like, you know, pretty popular like, you know, chick song that like they start singing to, and like it's like the same setup too, where it's just like it's like oh, you know, I could change it if you want, or no, it's they find a tape of like one of this like, you know, super like bro guys like mixes, and it was like Jeff's mix like 1, and they put it in and it's that song, and then like they're like you could turn it off, it's okay, and then the next scene is they're just singing the song. So
weird.
yeah
Thievery.
well, It's a different song. It's like a slightly different setup, but like it is like pretty much
Same basic
exactly
the
the
same
same
basic
thing.
punchline.
Yeah, yeah, because they're both singing the song, and I was just like, wow, I've seen this joke before in Harold and Kumar. That's where they got it from. Those hacks.
Unless Tommy Boy stole it from another movie.
Who knows? Maybe. But
You watch enough old comedy stuff from like the era of like the Three Stooges and Laurel and Hardy and all them, you'll often see some of the same bits being used amongst all of them. And I'm like, what the hell? Who did it first?
yeah,
But then it turns out they're just like old vaudeville routines that just everybody did.
that's how it spread. But yeah, that was pretty good. Like some of the things in the hotel, like the thing with like the moths. It's just like, why are there so many moths? And like David Spade has like the vacuum and everything. So
My brothers and I always got a kick out of
Housekeeping.
hell yeah. You know what's funny? Like I know like the phrase of this movie is that like holy shnikes thing, but
yeah, there was the DVD was even called the Holy Schnikey edition.
he doesn't really say it that much though. He kind of just says it like a few times. He says it when he's a kid. He says it like maybe like a couple times as an adult. But
Yeah,
like
that's enough.
yeah,
You don't want to overdo it.
yeah. I was just like, it wasn't like a big like as big as I thought it would be. Also, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's where that comes from. Like I thought it was a different movie, but like I was like, oh, it's this movie. Okay. I don't know how I never saw this movie, honestly.
I don't understand how you didn't see this movie either.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things where just never watched it.
Man only made 4 movies. Well, where he was the lead. He's in a few other movies.
I don't think I've seen all of Chris Farley's movies. I think I've seen most of them, but like I know I've seen Beverly Hills Ninja. That was him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And now I've seen this.
There's Black Sheep, which he also did with David Spade.
Yeah, I've never seen Black Sheep.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's not as good as this, but, you know, some similar vibes. He also made a movie called Almost Heroes, which is set in like the early 1800s.
Yeah,
with,
I don't think I've seen that either.
Chandler from Friends, where they're frontiersmen.
Wow, okay.
Basically doing a Lewis and Clark expedition.
Yeah. I
Those are the only movies where he's like a lead. He's in like other movies. I think he's in Coneheads. He's that small role in Billy Madison. He's pops up in a few other movies. Isn't he in the first Wayne's World? I think he's got a cameo in Wayne's World.
yeah, he might. Maybe he's like a roadie or something.
He got security guards, something. He just like
Yeah.
shows up for like one scene. I'm pretty sure he's in that one.
That would make sense.
Yeah, a lot of SNL stuff.
Yeah, like the only things I know about like Chris Farley is like I know he died young, and
Yes.
I know he was like the original voice of Shrek,
Yes,
and apparently like he did record like all of the dialogue,
or
but
like most of it.
yeah, but they've never like really released it.
They've
but,
released at least
like,
one
look-
scene,
yeah,
which is interesting just to see,
Yeah.
get an idea of what it could have been like.
People see me and they go, ah, help! A big, stupid, stinky, smelly, ugly ogre! And they judge me before they even know me.
yeah, which is interesting because you know Shrek is such a like popular movie now,
And you can't imagine any other voice other than
Mike Myers
Yeah.
doing it, and Mike Myers does it in like a Scottish voice.
Yeah.
Chris Farley was just doing it like as his like normal voice.
yeah. Though when you stop and realize like, oh, it was supposed to be Chris Farley. Well, of course. Look at the design.
Yeah,
He's this
yeah.
big dude.
Yeah, I think his version of Shrek had hair too, but I don't know.
I'm sure the thing is with these designs, they could have changed. They could have kept changing that design even if he didn't die. You
Well, I know Mike Myers recorded his dialogue twice because he's crazy.
Well, he recorded it with like his normal voice,
Yeah.
and then he was like, "Wait a minute, Scottish voice."
Yeah, and he's like, I'll do the whole thing over again.
To be fair, it was the right call.
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
I
but
think that works better than his normal voice would have.
But it is like an insane move to do.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
where it's just
especially
like,
if they had to reanimate the face too.
it's just like he recorded the entire movie and then was like, wait a minute, I have a better way of doing it.
Imagine being like the director, the producer. You're like, we recorded this movie 2 fucking times already, and you want me to do it a third?
Yeah. But yeah, you know, just like Chris Farley was like the master of physical comedy, though.
Oh yeah, he was very great at that.
Like I don't know, like how he would just like effortlessly like pass out. Like at the beginning of the movie, like drinks the beer and he's all like happy, and then he just like goes down.
And it's him. It's not a
Yeah.
stuntman because you could see it's him.
Yeah.
and I've seen
Like-
like behind the scenes footage. It's him.
Yeah, it's like no fear, just
Boom.
bam, right on the floor. I think he might have even fallen onto the table. Like,
Yeah.
just insane, the dedication to it.
Yeah, he died literally the same age that Belushi was, 33.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he died very young.
Man,
Yeah.
it's a damn shame.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, it's also weird. Like, this is like an earlier David Spade movie, and like David Spade kind of has like his one mode where it's like sarcastic, and like he more or less is like that in this movie, but he's like a lot more like, I want to say like, I don't know, like toned in a little bit compared to like sometimes he's like kind of like more of like an eccentric weirdo, but in this he's just like a normal guy, which is like a little weird seeing him be like he is like the straight man to, you know, Chris Farley's like crazy guy.
You got any money? Because I got a plan.
Yikes.
He's just like an accountant named Richard. It's like a little sarcastic. He does have his like weird quirks, like when he's like looking at the lady in the pool, and then just all the masturbation jokes after that. Pretty good.
Just keeps going.
Yeah.
And then once you think it's done, he throws out the who's your favorite little rascal, Alfalfa or Spanky?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
He just lets him have it.
Yeah.
And he's enjoying it. So you've been having you've been taking so many shots at me. I'm gonna savor this.
Yeah. Also, like the thing with him being bald too. Just, like,
It just comes out of nowhere.
yeah. It's just like, oh, okay. Like, I don't think David Spade's bald in real life.
No, it's not. That's
Like,
clearly a ball.
yeah. But it was like, all right.
It's a funny, just a fun little reveal.
Yeah.
Were you expecting Dan Aykroyd in this movie?
I was not. It was very weird. Just him being like this, like, I guess like he runs like a Pep Boys type of store.
Some kind of
Yeah.
large scale store.
Also, was his
National
character's
chain.
name Ray?
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, son.
I think his name
Yeah,
was Ray
Ray
Zelinsky.
Zelinsky,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was just like, that's weird. Like, it's like Ray from Ghostbusters.
With a name that's similar but slightly different from the Honey I Shrunk the Kids guy.
Oh yeah.
Like there's Zelinsky, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like a Polish type of name, but like, yeah, and it's funny because like his whole thing is like he's like a, you know, a nice auto parts salesman, but in real life he's like an absolute shark.
Oh yeah,
And
ruthless.
yeah,
He plans to buy the Callahan Auto Company just to gut it, and so you could just use the name. People know this name. People like this name. If I have this name in the box, they'll trust it. Do you want to keep the factory open? Why? Why? I don't need that open.
yeah, it's pretty good too. Like you know, the whole setup with like Tommy's father, and then like him dying, and then his new wife and her son actually being like, I guess like crooks or like con men or whatever.
Yeah, they're con artists.
Yeah. The scene where like the first scene, because like I've never seen this movie. When I saw like the mom making out with the son, I was like, what the fuck is happening in this movie?
You're like, holy Game of Thrones, Batman!
Yeah.
Bill, what have you done to me? What are you making me watch?
I was like, what is happening? And then like, of course, like it's just like, oh, they're con artists. They're, you know, trying to like get all this money. Like at first too, I was almost like wondering like, oh, did they poison the dad? But no, they didn't go that far. The dad just like dropped dead.
Nah, they explicitly make sure to say like, it's like we were just gonna bleed him dry in a divorce, and he just happened to die. This works better for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're evil.
Yeah,
At least
so-
he's more evil.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, he pretty much gets his comeuppance at the end, but
He gets comeuppance throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, he gets mauled by a dog, electrocuted. Then he gets his balls crushed,
oh yeah,
and then Dan Aykroyd steals his wife.
yeah. Just like, don't do it, Ray. Like,
Nah, he's smart. He'd get a prenup.
yeah, that guy's a shark. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, it's funny too, because like these like early 90s movies, it's always like, we gotta go to the big city, and it's like Chicago, and it's like, man, Chicago was really happening back then. Like, like so many movies are like Chicago, and I was like, wow. It's like Chicago just does not seem to be as present as it used to be in like popular media.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
They lost that Michael Jordan edge, man.
Yeah, I guess so. That might have been it, you know? Back when the NBA was like, well, the NBA is still pretty popular, but I feel like it was more popular in the 90s. It's all about, like, the Bulls and stuff. But yeah, they don't got their sports franchise. I mean, I think their baseball team sucks. I don't know if Chicago has a football team.
The Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, I'm pretty sure it's an SNL sketch, also with Chris Farley in it.
Man. Well, I don't know when the last time Chicago's football team got to the Super Bowl, but like,
I don't
damn.
follow that stuff.
Yeah. Probably not in a while since I completely forgot they had a football team.
Bears.
Back to the Dan Aykroyd connection. He shows up in a movie. Do you remember that Adam Sandler movie, 50 First Dates?
Yes, I've actually seen that one.
Yeah, they reference this movie in that movie.
Really?
Yes, because they take her to some kind of institute at one point, and it's briefly mentioned, but they say that it's the Callahan Institute.
We are funded out of Sandusky, Ohio, by T.B. Callahan, the automotive components type.
Oh, wow.
So, Adam Sandler paying tribute to his fallen friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This movie's in the same universe as 50 First Dates. Go figure. Cinematic universes, they're everywhere. We can't escape them.
Oh, man. They're all connected.
Adam Sandler's going to make a sequel to 50 First Dates, and in the post-credit scene, David Spade's going to show up with a bald cap on.
Oh, man. I don't know if that's a cinematic universe I need.
Nobody needs any cinematic universes anymore.
I just need movies to be movies again.
We're almost there.
Yeah.
Just a couple more Marvel movies need to bomb.
Yeah, I guess so.
Real ones, not the fake Sony ones.
Yeah. But, I don't know. This movie's good. It's got a lot of heart.
Oh, yes.
More heart than I thought it would for some reason, but...
I would say out of his 4 movies where he's the lead, that's the most heart out of all of them. More heart than Black Sheep. Black Sheep's got a little bit of heart. This has got more heart.
Yeah.
I think Tommy is a more rounded character. He's more innocent. He means well, even if he is kind of a buffoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he grows and improves. Like, he learns how to be a salesman.
Yeah.
Like, he's not book smart. And eventually, David Spade's character realizes that. It's like, yeah, you suck being book smart, but you got amazing people skills, which your dad also had, and that's what he used to get by.
Yeah.
And that's when they start succeeding.
Yeah. Also, he's not like I want to say like too much of an idiot. Like, it's like he does have like the wilder like stupid moments, but they're never like moments where they're just like too much. I feel like, I mean, the presentation is like too much, but like, I don't know. I never really got the impression of like this person's not like unrealistic, like in other movies where it's just like, okay, this person is just like a total cartoon character. But I didn't really get that impression with this guy. But yeah, it was a good movie. I would recommend watching Tommy Boy.
I highly recommend it. In fact, I made you watch it.
Yes. You actually made me buy it because you're like, it's really cheap and it's a really good movie. You should buy it.
How do you... And I was like, it's like, hey, man, Tommy Boy, real cheap Steelbook, Blu-ray. You should get that. I'm like, and you were just like, never seen it. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I think my jaw unhinged because I was just fucking shocked.
Just never came up.
This movie was on TV all the time when we were kids.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I never saw it, but it just happened.
It's bizarre.
Yep. Well, now I've seen it.
Good.
And it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I own it. So
forever.
I can watch it again and again.
Do so.
Yeah.
It's good.
But I guess with that being said, that's the Out of Touch podcast for this week. Go watch Tommy Boy.
Yeah. Holy shnikey.
Oof. That will ruin his weekend.